Lesson 2. How do we solve these one-step equations if the numbers are adding or subtracting? At first glance, you think, oh, well, if it's adding, then we subtract. If it's subtract, then we add. At first glance, that's what you think that you should do, but there are a couple of tricky situations that pop up where if it's adding, you actually have to add. And if it's subtracting, you actually have to subtract. So you don't run into that with multiplication and division. Are we clear on that? You don't run into that. It's easy with multiplication and division. If it's multiplying, we divide. If it's dividing, we multiply. So the first thing I want us to do here is just go, you know what? Let's go find our variable. Here's an m. Do you agree with me? There's your m. The second thing that I want you to do is I want you to ask yourself, what number do I need to get rid of? Does this sound familiar so far? What number do you need to get rid of? 8 or 11? I need to get rid of the 8. And the reason that we get rid of the 8 is the same reason that we did from lesson 1. Hey, it's sitting right over here with the m, correct? Now we ask ourselves the third step of what are we doing? What's the 8, the number we want to get rid of? What's it doing? It's adding. The moment you go, it's adding. I need you to write this down on your paper here for me. If the number you are getting rid of is adding or subtracting. So again, to recap, you find your variable like always. You go, I need to get rid of this number. What's it doing? It's adding. The moment that you see it's adding, or what's the other option? Subtracting. Then I need you to look to the left to see if you add or subtract. So let's go through the steps one more time. You find your variable. You know you need to get rid of the 8. What's it doing? It's adding. The moment you know it's adding or what? I need you to look to the left. So now I want you to take your pen and I want you to just put it right over the number that you're needing to get rid of and draw a little arrow to the left. Sometimes I say in front of the number, but that confuses some people. Some people think the right is the front, and I get that. So I say left. I need you to look to the left to see if you add or subtract. So this is what I'm talking about. Now I want you to think of it as a sign. Is this a positive 8 or a negative 8? It's positive. So can we just write -8 right underneath it? And because this is subtracting, we're not going to put this little line in between. You see what I'm saying? We're not going to put that line between the 8s and the -8. Shouldn't we put it underneath it because it's subtracting? Guys, what's 8 minus 8? 0. See how it kind of boxes up around the sign to the left? I mean, it just causes it to blow up and go away. Now this one, it's not going to make creepy 1. What's 8 minus 8? 0. What is 0? If I opened up my wallet and it had 0 money in it, how much money would be in my wallet? None. That's what 0 is, nothing. We blew up the 8 like it's a stick of dynamite. It is gone. And just so you know, is creepy 1 still lurking in front of the M? Yeah, creepy 1 is still there. Do we really need to have creepy 1 popping up and saying hi? No, you kind of hope creepy 1 just goes to sleep. He sees you when you're sleeping, right? It's kind of creepy. He's always there, always watching. Yeah, it's the holidays. And so now the M, wouldn't the M just come straight down? The 8 minus 8 is gone. The equal sign, doesn't that come straight down? And what do I do to this side? Since I'm -8 here, what do we have to do to the other side? -8. What's 11 minus 8? 3. Does that make sense to us? Does 3 plus 8 actually get us 11? Now see, look, if you slowed it down and you're like, ha, it's adding, so we subtract. You understand? If you said that, you get the right answer, but does that work every single time? No, and I'm going to show you when you're going to run into that issue. So that's the reason I got to do this look left thing to keep you safe. Okay? So let's go over here to the W equation. Your eyes fall to the W. We have to get rid of a number. Which one? 3. What's it doing? Adding. The moment that it's adding or what? Look what? So in other words, I need to come right back up here and my eyes need to look to the left. Now, don't look at the equal sign. That's like a wall. Is there anything in front of that? So now, could I subtract 3? See, look left to see if you add or subtract. You can add or subtract. You're free. You're not, we don't care about this plus sign right here. We're free. What do I need to do to make this 0? If I say plus 3, what's going to happen? What's 3 plus 3? And then I could put plus 3 over here, but then I get the negative 8 equals 6 plus w. That's no good, is it? See, you can do it, but it's not going to help you. So instead of saying plus 3, what can I do to make that 3 go away? Minus 3. The moment you see it's adding or subtracting, you can either add or subtract to make it go away. Well, 3 minus 3 is gone. What about the w? It comes down. Equal sign comes down. And now we can say minus 3. Now, if you've got your calculators right there, you can type in the top number, negative 11, and then you can type in the bottom number, minus 3. Use this as a minus sign. What's negative 11 minus 3? Negative 14. How come? Because of keep, change, change. Do you remember that? Remember how we get the negative 14? And that's what's happening. So again, though, that's not too bad of a situation. Now let's go a little bit faster on Z right over here. Let's go down here to Z here real quick. Where is our variable at? Z. What do we want to get rid of? 4. Well, guys, if the 4 is subtracting, see, look, then we look where? Whoops, I've got my highlighter on there. We look to the left. So I want to look right here in front of it. I want you to think of that as a negative 4. So what's the opposite? Positive. So just think of it as a plus 4. What's negative 4 plus 4? 0. And now what can we do to the other side? So the Z is free to fall down. The equal sign falls down. What's negative 3 plus 4? 1. And you tell me, is 1 minus 4 going to be negative 3? Yep. All right. So here's where we got to go and change some things right over here. This is where we're going to change it right here for our notes. Can you guys put a little negative sign in front of the 13? The moment I put that little negative sign in front of the 13, our whole world falls apart if you're just going, well, if you're adding, you're subtracting, and if you're subtracting, you're adding. That's where our whole world falls apart. So let's go through and see how a person that has a misunderstanding is going to get into a bad situation. And then we're going to come back and we're going to use my look left scenario of how it fixes it. Okay. You find your H. There it is, right? H. Negative 13 we got to get rid of. What's the negative 13 doing? Adding. What's the opposite of adding? So see, if you say, oh yeah, it's the opposite of adding is subtracting. If you put minus 13 underneath negative 13, could you please take your calculator out and just type in negative 13 minus 13? What did you get? I've borrowed $13 and I've borrowed another $13. It's a total of negative 26. That would be horrendous. Look, that gets us negative 26 here. The plus H falls down. I'd have to subtract 13 on this side and we get 87. Does that help us at all? So you see what I'm saying? The situation is that just because it's adding doesn't mean that we always subtract. So you're like, oh. And rather trying to tell you about the exact situation about when you do that, here's what I'd want you to do instead. Here's your variable. What's the negative 13 that we want to get rid of doing? Adding. The moment you know it's adding, or it's this one, or subtracting, then I don't want you to keep going. I want you to look where? Left. I've still got the highlighter there. I want you to look to the left of the number you want to get rid of. This time, what do I see there? A negative sign. What's the opposite of negative? Positive. I want you to think of this as negative 13 plus 13. Oh, what's negative 13 plus 13? 0. Do you see how that fixes this by looking left and making that little decision? So the moment you do that, you're like, okay. And now we can say H comes down, the equal sign comes down, and we put plus 13 right here, and we get 113. Okay? So that's what we've got. So ladies and gentlemen, does that make sense about what we're talking about there? So now what I'd like to do is I'd like to put 2 up on the board real quick, and I just want us to go through it kind of quick. The notes are finished at this time, so let's just come right over here and let's somewhere on a piece of scratch paper. On a piece of scratch paper, write this down. G plus 3 equals -8, and then instead of the G coming first, let's flip-flop it and make it a 3 come first there. You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing, but let's just flip-flop it. So we found our G is right here, so we want to get rid of what number? 3. What's it doing? Adding. So we look to the left and we say, hey, -3, -3, yes or no? G equals what? -11. So let's go take a look at this one. Here's our G right here. What's the number we want to get rid of? 3. What's it doing to the G? Adding. But we don't look behind it, we look right where? Here. If I don't see a sign in front of it, I just kind of think of it as a plus. What's the opposite of plus? -3. If you want, you can, look, literally, if you want, you can take the time to put a little plus sign right there if you want. And now that's like gone, and now the G is free. And what do we have to do on the other side? We -3 here, so what do we do right here? -3. So what would we get? -11. So these are pretty much the same. Now the next thing that's going to happen here is that we come down here and we look at this situation, and this is why I've got the look left that's sitting here for us. We have G -3 equals 10, and we have -3 plus G equals 10. See, like right here, there's no problem. Here's our G. What's the 3 doing to the G? Subtracting 3. But anytime that it's adding or subtracting, we look where? Left. Oh, here it is. I see a sign right there. What's the opposite of that sign? And now we're just going to do this to make that go away. And we put it on the other side, and we get G equals what? 13. Now look over here. This is where the look left saves all of the headaches that you're going to run into. Here's your G right here. Which number do we want to get rid of? The 3, the -3. But we don't look behind it. We look where? Well, in fact, the -3 is doing what? The -3 is what? Adding. But we don't look behind it. We look, as soon as you know it's an adding subtract number, we look where? Look left of the number you're trying to get rid of. Use this sign, whatever's in front of it. Use that sign to do the opposite. And so we're like, oh, that's a -3. I have to add 3. Oh, is that allowed? Yes. Adding and subtracting is not like an instant opposite thing. You always look left and then you use what's in front of that number to get rid of it. Okay? And that is what's going to make it okay, because if you're tied up with the fact that -3 is adding, and because it's adding we should subtract, well, you pull out your calculator, what's -3 minus 3? -6. That's not going to play well. So don't look behind it. Once you find out it's adding and subtracting, I want you to look where? In front of it, and then you just do the opposite of that sign in front, and you go, oh yeah, +3, -3, what's -3 plus 3? 0. And now I can add 3 here, and we get G is equal to 13.